wherever you might be connecting with me this beautiful evening, Wednesday. And it's my privilege and honor to be here live. Hi, Facebook family. It's been a while. And hi, YouTube. I'm so happy and delighted, especially on what this day in history represents. And I can tell you that this day, 3 years ago, we gave birth. I gave birth to my first ever written book titled Connecting the Dots: How to Make Sense of Your Life's Purpose and Vision. So if you have ever done anything right, if you have prayed, invested, got certification, do everything meaningful, showed up where it matters, but yet there seems to be no connection. There seems to be nothing working to your favor or to what you have planned or to what you have looked forward to having. Then this conversation is for you. This conversation is a reminder of where I used to be, of what happened to be my way of life until I started having a new paradigm shift of how to show up in life. It was that year 2022, and sometimes the silence that we feel about why we are where we are, about what is happening about our life, can be misconstrued. But sometimes God's silence is not absence of his fatherhood. Sometimes such absence can be strategic. And I'm going to share a story about me, about my journey, that is going to help you get more perspective about what I'm sharing. And this is one of the things that helped me come out of that struggle of exchanging or trading time for money. Because that was my journey, 40 years plus. I was walking in that cycle, appearing so busy, but yet there was nothing actually showing, nothing to show when it comes to the real world of depth of what it means to meaningfully live life. And it was that year after COVID, I've had my last baby, and I was just looking at how I can just begin to do something on the side and then also work from home so that I won't be needing to employ the daycare service. I will also be able to still having my children all in the elementary. They still need more of me. So I was not looking forward to a job that is going to take me too far away from being able to still do what I'm supposed to be doing. And I thought of going into certification to apply for that role of a scrum master or an agile coach, since I've always seen myself to be a people person and to be somebody that I've always loved coaching and that space. And I started out. I went for the training, I signed up, did all the exams, passed, started applying, as it were, because that was how you are only going to. And in that community, I was doing well, got the first certification, the second, and let me not bore you, started application, and I can tell you, within a space of 9 months, I've applied to so many organizations, but there was not one. Averagely, when I do the application, I will get a response. I will go for the first interview. I will go for the second round. But when it is the next for the third round, which is what should take you to where you should begin to be sure that you are getting this job, it will just be silent. In that season, month after month, for good 9 months, it was tending towards frustration. I remember those nights where I would cry, literally cry. I will cry. I'm telling you the story behind this great and amazing book. And then And the pain that that was being unlocked behind the crying was the fact that so many people were interviewing together. Many of them were getting the jobs. Many of them we will do the interview preparation session together. And some of them will come to me and tell me, baby, you did perfectly well. Your command of the stage, your boldness, your confidence, they give me that feedback that I actually was convincing. And there was nothing that should stop me from getting the job. Instead of getting the job, I was getting frustrated. And then at the 10th month, I told myself, I'm not going to allow this frustration to end my life or to make me lose out of what is important to me. And I remember that day telling my husband that I'm no more going to apply. It's like my hope is being dashed every now and then. So, and before now, I've started my YouTube channel. That was 2020, I started, but it was not forthcoming. Some of those days, I remember I would just go live and I would drop the video. Sometimes I hated my voice. Sometimes I was not even, but those early beginning and those consistent showing up day by day was building my confidence I never knew. So I have used that moment to invest myself in personal development. I've traveled to Ukraine, traveled to have a coach, a person of Dr. Sunday Adeola. I have been coached. I know something about myself then, but I just did not know how to put everything together. And here calls. So a call from one of my friends who normally watch my videos, and we've met at Ukraine, in Kyiv, Ukraine. And can I shock you? He just asked a passive question like, I've watched your video, I saw the last video you uploaded, and it's like you have over 200 videos on YouTube. And that's the truth. Over 200 videos. That time that. Why have you not considered writing a book? I said, I'm going to write, but I'm not ready yet. And blah, 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 blah. I was just giving those excuses. But something divine came out of that conversation. I said, let me go over it and let me see. I will go over it and said, just go over. And he gave me the link that go over your best videos, some of your best trainings that people love, and then write about it. I was already a certified agile coach. I already believe that everything about me is that way. I've already positioned my life all that one-way traffic. But thank God that I listened and I paid particular attention to what he was telling me to do. And do you know what? That was the beginning of that journey. I decided to compile all my stories, all my lessons, all the learnings, everything that I have gotten that is going well for me, It was all about how I was able to discover myself. And I wrote it. In that moment, I worked with the coach and I was able to have everything in 3 months. So I started October. I've told you 9 months I was applying, nothing was coming forth. October, I took up that journey and I wrote this book. And January 1st, 2023, the book was published live on Amazon. See, when I look at what I just briefly explained, that was the beginning of the end to complaining, criticizing, and not just believing that I have something good. So anytime you see complaining, criticism, these are traits of somebody that have not sat down to see what he or she has that is worth celebrating. Because what I eventually did on the very day, like I said, today exactly in history, 3 years ago, mark the official date when I got my book launched. My book was launched on the 28th, in the in-person book launch on the 28th of January. And that journey started because I believed in myself. I did not look down on my story. I did not look down on what I have. And I did not allow the shame of me not getting the job to become my journey, to become how I was going to label my life. And little did I know that embedded behind this book was my purpose for the coming year. That the story I was avoiding to share is going to be the journey that is going to unfold and take me to the limelight. Connecting the dots. Connecting the dots. Connecting the dots. Connecting the dots is the story of resilience. Maybe you've been going through your life and you are wondering what is exactly going on, just like I was wondering that, God, where are you? You got a point, somebody told me and asked me, are you a Christian, madam? Don't you pray? Don't you go to church? Why is it like you are not getting on? And that was exactly what was going through on my life. Or maybe it's been difficult for you to live life and enjoy it in your own terms. That was my reality then. I was looking for the kind of job that will help me to still have time for my family, still be able to meet up, supporting my husband, and then still able to do what I honestly believe in. This book will give you the ideas on how you can answer those questions. First secret you're going to get is that that your life will begin to find value and shape when you discover the secrets that are not hidden. When you discover that you have potentials and abilities that are yet to be unleashed. The potentials and abilities that I have that you can connect with today were already inside of me when I was languishing away and crying my eyes out for not getting a job, and was using the job as a criteria of my success, of my relevance. You will be able to see that there are many things that you could think you could not do before now. But when you begin to pay attention, will pave way for you to be able to bring about the shift that you need for your next level. And by the time you are done with this book, you are going to have your perspective and your orientation change vis-a-vis your life, purpose, and vision. This book is going to help you to take charge of your life. You're going to be able to break free from every limiting belief and imposter syndrome that have held you back and have kept you playing small in the past. Because in my own case, the limiting belief I had was that if I don't get that tech job, my life has no meaning. I can't make it in life. I don't have what it takes. And that any other thing I do else aside of that tech job is not going to get me anywhere. And this was the limiting belief that made me to believe that writing a book at that time was not important until I changed my mind. Now, you are going to get this solution, the framework from how you can deal with every form of fear, especially fear of failure. And let me tell you a little bit about that part that has to do with fear of failure. You know, I have always remembered my past, and I've always felt the ashamed. And the reason for the shame is nothing far-fetched from the fact that I was hidden at birth. My pregnancy was hidden. And the reason was because I was unexpected. And I was supposed to be aborted. There was no chance that was given to me. And the fact that I am alive today and connecting with you is a testament of a story of God's faithfulness. Please, I want you to go ahead and subscribe if you are here with me and you are still on. I want you to please go ahead and click the subscription button, click the like button if you are with me and you are here. At the end of this live, I have a gift, and that is a copy of this book for every one of you. Just make sure you drop in the comments, connecting the dots, type in the comments, and I will be sharing with you the link on how you can get a copy. So, everything about me was shame, was about failure, was about a mom who was not ready, whose identity was hidden in shame, who could not even mutter anything, who could not believe anything beautiful could come out of her life. And how I got the healing and the acceptance that made me to be able to do what I'm doing now is the gap that I'm going to be covering. This is a 7 days life session that every day I'm going to come out with the story that produced the version of me that you are connecting with today. That if it has not been for God, if it has not been for his grace, if it had not been for his mercy that was shown upon my mom, that very day she decided to get rid of that pregnancy, maybe I will not be here today. Maybe you will not be watching me live. And maybe I will not be able to do this. And that is why I give all the glory back to him. So I want you to also look into your life and go and revisit that story you have been avoiding. That story that anytime you internalize it, it looks like a shameful story. It's not something you are proud of. You don't want anybody to know about it. You just want it to be buried. I want you to know that that story is one that is going to unlock your path in destiny. Because when you come in terms with this, you will now look at everything you call delay. Everything you call delay with regards to your purpose, with regards to your vision, with regards to where you want to be in life, was actually God in disguise. Now, when you process those delay very well, it's going to bring about the unleashing and the unlocking of your great destiny. Yeah. I want to say this to celebrate what God did in my life. That story that I just shared with you, 2 in 1. The story of an unwanted pregnancy that was hidden for 9 months. You can imagine already the frame of reference of that particular life. A pregnancy, something that was meant to be a thing of joy. Do you understand? Now became something that is being hidden for good 9 months. I was taken away from the city. My pregnancy was hidden. You know what that meant? The first very few months of that pregnancy, nobody was proud to celebrate it. And that was the moment where my pregnancy, whether I was going to be or not, whether I was going to be given chance to life, was being debated. And I thank God that God won the victory and God gave me a chance to life. And so everything that I hold today, everything that I have today, everything that I am today, I owe it to that decision. And thanks to my grandmother, Mrs. Abigail Olufumlayo Akintoye, who stood her ground that nothing will happen to my pregnancy and that I will be alive and I will be part of those that will be alive today. And so I want you to please thank God on my behalf and just thank God. And so celebrating the 3rd anniversary of Connecting the Dots book, I cannot do it without going back to that beginning. The days of my little beginning. The days where I could not even believe that my life was going to be given a chance. But today, I'm here celebrating the birth of my life. And to want to recommend to every one of us who at the moment, you don't see any reason why your life has any reason to celebrate. You don't feel that life has been fair to you based on what you have gone through. You've looked yourself into the mirror and everything you see is not something worth celebrating. and you are telling yourself, what is the meaning? What is the essence? And what has this life got to give? At every critical point, we are going through challenges and trials. If we ever dare to trust God and look back to reflect, we are going to be able to connect the dot to see the message, the real message that God is trying to pass across to us. And sometimes what the enemy does is to keep us buried within the framework of that shame, of that setback, of that lack, of that inconvenience, of that hopelessness, and make us to adopt and believe that is everything that our life has got to give. But the moment you are able to pull back and say, wait a minute, what is the message that this situation and this circumstance is trying to teach? When you change that lens at the way you are seeing your current circumstance, you are going to be able to see a beautiful picture that is waiting to be unlocked in the spring and in the screen of your life. So that was the story. That was my story. That story of shame. I took that hold of it and I lay hold on God's promise that, Lord, this shame, I am bringing it back to you for you to remold it and bring and birth a beautiful, glorious picture that everyone that hears my story will want to love and will want to thank you. Because that is all the game is all about. It is about two worlds and about the perspective and who wins the game and who wins the war at the end. Either you agreeing with God that even though I was buried, I was birthed, I was born out of shame and out of wedlock and an unwanted pregnancy, I was meant to be flushed out. I am here today, radiantly declaring the glory of God on what it means when you are given a second chance to live. And that is why I want to tell you, I have a quote in my book that says, you only have one life. And if you do it right, that one life is enough. That one life is enough. And that is why I have made up my mind. I am not going to allow anything to keep me in my inglorious past. But I'm going to use that past to show myself and tell myself what is possible if I dare to believe in the power and the mighty hand of God to recreate my destiny. He said, from birth, we have been predestinated. There is a glorious liberty. There is a glorious end that he has given to us. But in the midst of our becoming, life happens. And when life happens, how you interpret that happening and how you are able to process everything that happened during those periods is going to determine where you are going to land, how you are going to end, and if we are going to be celebrated or not. So if there's anything I want to do today, I want to know that every one of you on this call, once you send me the word, you comment the word, connecting the dots on the comments, I'm going to be sharing you a link whereby you can download the free copy of my book. Yeah. This is my anniversary week, and I'm going to be coming live every day to talk about how I was able to connect the dots in my own life. How I was able to connect the dots to my life's purpose and vision. How I was able to connect the dots to a wholesome relationship. You know, when you talk about the subject of life's purpose and vision, when you see a wholesome person, it's somebody that is whole. You know, there's no how you can create a wholesome family without a wholesome husband and wife, a wholesome unit, the home front. There's no how you can create a wholesome life without you connecting the dots to a purposeful, a life that is full of purpose, that is not confused. So these are some of the things that I will be sharing with you in this journey, and how you also, whether you are watching on the replay or you are watching live, to see which part of your life is yet to be connected, or connecting the dots financially to your financial freedom. Connecting the dots. That is what this journey is all about. To make sense of our lives and to make a new beginning if there has ever been anything lost. And to promise ourselves that we are not going to give up and we're going to believe all the way to the end that God has meant well and he has all what we need and we are not going to succumb to all the fears and to every gimmicks of the enemy. And we are going to own up to taking the front row of the seat of our life and to drive it to where we want it and not allow the enemy to be the one dictating. And this is my story. And I believe that every one of us, as we journey and embark on this path, we all together, we are going to see that there is more to our world than we are seeing. And there is a part of us that our world is waiting for. That when we show up and we believe with God and we do not agree with Satan, we are going to become celebrated. Because this is not just about my story. It is about a birth of a passion that was almost going to be buried. About a calling that was not going to see the light of the day because I could not get a techie job. About a life that embraced learning, unlearning, and a teachable spirit to becoming who I am today. So if there is any missing link in your own journey from where you are now to where you always wanted to be, I will be sharing with you tomorrow how I was able to connect the dots, the missing link, how one journey, how one coaching call, how one call, one man, one question changed everything for my life to what you're seeing today. I want to say a big thank you to everyone that joined. Thank you, Mr. Abolore, on YouTube. Thank you, everyone on Facebook. I appreciate you. Thank you, Mrs. Abolore Abiodun. Thank you very much. I appreciate your call. Yeah, thank you. And then also on YouTube, thank you very much. Mrs. Second, thank you, Bonzo. I appreciate you. And everyone that I was not able to pick your names. I remain loyal and I'm very happy that I'm still here tomorrow, same time. And I've said it, check the description of this video and click for the free ebook. I'm going to click and also pin the comment on how you can download this book. The reason is that every one of us, we have a glorious destiny and we should never succumb in the face of trial. That is my story. You should never give up. You should never tell yourself that I've tried everything and nothing is going to work. No, something is going to work. I am a living proof of something that worked. That even though when my purpose and my life feel delayed, I was able to connect the dots to purpose. And that was how I was able to change everything. So I want to say thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Tomorrow, please join me. Same time. It's 2 p.m. Eastern and that's 8 p.m. West African time. And I will be live again to continue the connecting the dots, third anniversary and the story that changed my life. And now you also can be more purposeful and begin to define your life the way you want it. Thank you very much. So we're going to talk about connecting the dots to purpose, connecting the dots to a wholesome relationship, connecting the dots to your calling, and then connecting the dots to actually becoming all that God has called you to be. Let's connect the dots tomorrow. Thank you for watching, and it's bye from here. God bless you. Yes, sir. Thank you.